I'm Jane, and today I'd like to share with you a 15-minute stretch class. So this stretch class is for you if you spend a lot of time sitting down, you've been working from home for a while maybe, perhaps not in the most ergonomic setup, and you start to feel a little bit cranky through the hips, through the shoulders, a little bit tight through the chest. We're going to take 15 minutes. That's all, just 15 minutes. You can save this down to your desktop as well. You can do this any time you like. You don't need any equipment, maybe a mat or something comfortable to sit on if that's good for you. Otherwise, you can just do this sitting on your carpet exactly the same as I am. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to focus a little bit on the hip flexors. So if we're spending a lot of time sitting down, we've got our legs in that right angle position a lot, and we're going to find that they can start to get a little bit gripey. So they're sitting in that constantly shortened position and we're not actually working them. So for this exercise, we're going to, well, not exercise, stretch. We're going to open out through the hip flexors. We're also going to stretch out through the glutes because they can also get a little bit grumpy. So that's the other side of the hip flexor basically. So let's start by taking your left leg in front of you, and you want to try and get it at roughly a right angle. If it's not, doesn't matter, it's all good. You work to whatever's good for you. But if you can get it in roughly a right angle, that's a pretty good position to be in. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the right leg behind us. And we want to try and stretch the right leg as far away from our hip as possible. So this is what it's going to give us, the stretch through the hip flexor. So think about pushing the bottom, tucking it forward and under, trying to get the hip down towards the floor. You can see I've got pretty tight hip flexors. I find it difficult to get it down to the floor. And at the same time, we want to get our butt down on the floor as well. So this is what we're aiming for. As you send the leg away, think about reaching the toe, just try and reach out to something that's just a little bit too far away for you. And we're going to start by sitting nice and tall. So we're lengthening the spine, keeping the crown of the head away from the base of the spine. And then we're going to deepen the stretch a little bit by coming down over the shin. So as you do that, still think about lengthening the crown of the head away from the base of the spine, and still think about reaching the back toe away from you as you sink the hips forward and under and try and get the butt down towards the floor. Now, just take a couple of really nice deep breaths in. So we're going to breathe in through the nose for a count of 3, hold it for a count of 2, and breathe out for a count of 5. Let's take another breath like that. And as you breathe out, feel the shoulders relaxing away from the ears. We're going to just change the angle of the stretch a little bit. So you're going to bring your body round so it's over your front foot. Now again, not comfy for you. You want to stay up here? Absolutely stay up here. But what you're going to find is it gives you a slightly different stretch through your butt muscles. So come down, stay up, do what's good for you. And again, let's just take a couple of deep breaths here. Before we walk the hands around, I'm going to turn my back on here, sorry. And we're going to take our weight over the front knee. Again, feels better for you up here, sit up here. It's all about doing what feels good for your body today. That might feel different tomorrow, might feel different yesterday. It's all good. See if you can reach your back toe just a little bit further away, and then ease yourself back through to centre and ease yourself back up. As we do that, we're going to bend the back knee. So we've now got front knee and back knee at more or less 90 degrees. And we're going to take the arms out to the side. So while we've been lengthening through this back hip flexor, we're now going to try and get some mobility through the whole hip complex. So we're going to swap from side to side. So coming through centre, trying to sit tall on the sit bones, trying to keep the shoulders away from the ears, trying to keep the spine nice and long. Awesome. All right. Okay, let's go over to the other side. So no one likes to be wonky. I keep saying that in my classes. Sometimes people say to me, maybe I do like to be wonky. I don't. Maybe I like wonky. All right, so let's take the right leg forward now and the left leg back. So might feel completely different on this side. Again, we are all a little bit wonky. So you might find it easier or less difficult to get your hip down, to get your butt down on this side. But we're still aiming to try and send the leg as far away as possible, tuck the hip forward and under, and bring our weight over the front leg. If it feels good for you, you can bring yourself down onto your elbows, still trying to relax the shoulders away from the ears. Let's take a couple of deep breaths again. So in through the nose for 3, hold for 2, out for 5. Feel the shoulders releasing away from the ears, melting down the back. And then let's take the weight over the front foot. You're still reaching your back toe away, you're still tucking your hip forward and under. Should feel this through the glutes as well as through the hip flexor on the back. Again, feels more comfortable for you to come up, please come up. This is your stretch, your time to feel good. And then we'll walk the hands round so we're over the back knee. Oh, fantastic. Couple of deep breaths again. Still reaching the back foot away. And then come back to centre. And we're going to just take the back leg behind us now, and we're going to come down onto the floor. So as we come down onto the floor, we bring the hands just in line with the chest. We're reaching the legs away from us. We're reaching the crown of the head away from the base of the spine. We're going to press down into the floor. And as we do that, we're going to lengthen through the front of the body. Pull the shoulders back and down, lengthening all the way through the front of the body, bringing the spine into extension, which is the complete opposite direction that most of us sit all day. Press your chest slightly forward, roll your shoulders back, get that engagement through the shoulder blades, and squeeze your butt. If it feels good for you and you want to, you can lift your knees off the floor as well, so you're balancing on the tops of your feet. And then we're reaching the crown of the head away from the tops of the feet. Breathe into it. Fantastic. Bring your knees back down. Bring yourself to all fours and then tuck your toes under. And we're going to stretch now, as we stretch down the front of the body, and we're going to stretch now down the whole back of the body. So what's called, in techie speak, the posterior chain. So taking your hands under your shoulders, spread your fingers out so you're going to absorb the load, tuck your toes under and lift your hips up towards the sky. As you do this, I want you to frame your head with your hands, pushing your hands down hard into the floor. As you do that, lift your hips up towards the sky. So you're trying to reach your hips as far away from your fingertips, and at the same time, we're going to try and lengthen through the back of the legs. So you've got the length from the hips down to the floor, and we'll pedal the heels out. So we get length down through the hamstrings and through the calves. So all the way through the back of the legs. These are areas that tend to get very tight if you're sat in a chair all day. You're sat with your knees bent. So that's the job of your hamstrings, to bend your knees. And you're sitting with your ankles in the same position. So we're trying to move our ankles into a different position. All right, make the next pedal the last one, and slowly bring yourself back to all fours position. Superb. All right, we're going to come down to the floor now. So bring yourself down gently to the floor. Make sure you've got room to move, and then take your arms out to the side. So as you reach your fingertips out, think about trying to reach them as far away as possible, as though there's a £5 note just a little bit out of the reach of your fingertips and you're reaching out for them. Let the shoulder blades melt down the back. Pull the belly button into the spine. Inhale. As you inhale, bend your left leg. Then you're going to lift the left leg up off the floor. Now, you're going to come as far over as is comfortable for you. So it's going to take you a little bit of time. So if that's as comfortable as far as you can come, that's absolutely fine. Stay there. If it's comfortable for you to bring your top foot over to the floor behind you, please do. So as you do that, you're trying to get your top foot as close to your back hand as you can. Now you're going to start to still feel a stretch, again through the hip flexor. You're also going to start to feel a stretch through the shoulder that's on the floor. So where we often sit with rounded shoulders, we find that this is a very effective stretch to open the shoulders out. Reach the back fingertips a little bit further away, and then as you inhale, lift the top arm up towards the ceiling. As you do that, reach your fingertips up. So we open out through the chest, through the shoulders. Oh, feels so good. Now the first couple of times you do this stretch, it can feel very, very intense. So please work at your range of movement. If it doesn't feel good for you to lift your arm up or to take your leg all the way over, then please rest where's comfortable for you. All right, so just inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to bring the top arm down. We're going to rotate back round, and we're going to bring the top knee down towards the floor. As we do that, we're going to grab the top foot with the hand. Now I want you to push your foot into your hand, and at the same time push your hand into your foot. As you do that, lengthen the knee away from you and tuck your hips forward and under. This can feel like quite an intense stretch down the front of your leg, your quads. Breathe into it, let your shoulders relax. And then gently let the leg come back down, release, take the fingers out to the side, and let's do the other side. So this time, we bend the right knee. We bring the knee towards the bottom, and then we lift up and we drop the right foot behind us. So you may be more or less flexible on this side, and you may find you can get your foot closer or not as close on this side, and that's all good. Still keep reaching the fingertips away, trying to step the foot as far away as possible in order to open out through the hip flexor, reaching the bottom fingers as far away as possible to open out the bottom shoulder. Then when you're ready, inhale, and as you exhale, lift the top arm up towards the ceiling. Reach the fingertips up, reach the bottom fingertips out, and feel the beautiful opening through the chest, through the hip flexor. May feel a little bit of rotational stretch through the back as well. Couple of deep breaths in and out. And then gently let the top arm come back to the floor and rotate round. Oh, so good. And then we're going to take this bent knee, we're going to take the top foot in the top hand. We're going to press the foot into the hand into the foot, pressing the knee away, tucking the hips forward and under for a beautiful stretch through the quads, through the front of the legs. And release. Excellent. All right, so we're going to just push our weight upwards, come on up to seated, and we've just got one more stretch to take. So this time we're going to stretch out through the back a little bit. So again, we tend to sit quite like this, which is stretching some of the muscles across the back, but they can tend to get locked into the same position. So we're just going to loosen out actually through the back, and then coming into the chest as well, just to open out the other direction. So I'm going to turn on a little bit of an angle so you can see what I'm doing. So take your left hand and put it round your right foot. And as you do that, I want you to push the foot into the hand, and then use your hand to pull your foot closer in towards your body. So as you do that, you should already start to feel a little bit of a stretch round about here. Take your right hand behind you, and as you push your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot, turn so you're looking over your back shoulder, relax your head, and then push your foot away a little bit harder and pull your hand in a little bit deeper. If you're not feeling it, push and pull harder and relax your head. breathe into the back of your rib cage. So as you breathe in, feel the lungs expanding to fill your rib cage both at the side and at the back. This will give you a deeper stretch as well as slowing down your resting heart rate. Beautiful. And release. And then we're just going to bring the feet down to the floor. We're going to take the hands behind us. This time we're going to have the fingertips pointing in towards the buttocks. And we're going to bend the elbows. Now, it's really important that you bend your elbows here because otherwise you're not going to feel the stretch enough. So sink back down into the elbows, and then I want you to consciously, because you can see my shoulders are rolled forward, I want you to consciously pull your shoulder blades down your back, open through your shoulders. You might already be starting to feel the stretch here. As you push back into the bent elbows, squeeze the elbows together. Now, you might start to feel this through here, might start to feel it across your chest and across your back. We're all tight in different places, so we can all feel it in different places. Again, breathe into the stretch. And when it feels good for you, push your chest up towards the ceiling, still keeping the elbows bent, and squeeze together. It's going to make the stretch much deeper. Particularly across the shoulders, across the chest. That's me wiggling my toes because it's really quite uncomfortable. All right, a couple more deep breaths. And then bring yourself back up. And this time we'll take the right hand to the outside of the left foot. So we're pushing the foot into the hand into the foot. We're taking the hand behind us. So as you push away, pull in, relax the head. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Feel that fantastic stretch through your shoulders, through your back. One more breath. And release. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. It was just 15 minutes just to take yourself a little stretch. So if it feels good for you, just take another couple of minutes, just really feeling your breath coming through your body. Breathing in, holding your breath for a couple of counts, and then breathing out for longer than you breathed in. I mentioned it earlier, it really does help to slow your resting heart rate, and at a time when many of us are feeling quite a lot of extra stress, we can tend to breathe up into this part of our lungs, so we're only getting very shallow breaths. So take the time, take your breath, feel your body. You can do these stretches as often as you like. Obviously, the more often you stretch, the better it's going to feel. It's going to start to loosen up, and you'll find that this is something you can do anytime during the day, middle of the day. If you're on a phone call, one of those video calls, switch your camera off, take a little stretch on the floor. Who's going to know? I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like more, I run a weekly stretch class on a Friday morning at 8:30 AM UK time. Please drop me a note. I'll be really happy to have you join our class. It's half an hour just for you to relax and release. So have fun, have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Bye.